Okay, guys, made it fresh here. Let's make a super quick Ices matchup chart. I think Link is 50-50. I don't think Ices have as good of a chart as people think, and I'm a huge Ices fan, especially in the current meta, but there's like some matchups. I think Ices has a pretty close chart, almost like a Luigi. I do think Fox and Falco both beat Ices. I know some of you might say Falco's 50-50, but I do think Falco, 60-40s. You know, Ices are the winning matchups, so obviously here, these would be the losing matchups. I think Link is 50-50. You know, people don't agree with that. I think Link is not bad against Ices. I think Peach absolutely decimates Ices. I think that's Ices' worst matchup in the game. Do I want to make an 80-20? Again, I always argue the host tier list, everything's much closer than people think immediately. Like, it's not impossible to overcome these matches, but like, that's not good. Peach versus Ices down smash really separates them. I think it's probably closer to 75-25, not 70-30, but I'm sticking with 70-30. Let's keep going here because I don't want this video to go on super long. I think Ices beats Bowser, but then again, I think everybody beats Bowser. Now, this is like a tough one too. Like, Zelda, I don't think is that bad. A lot of Sheiks are switching to Zelda. I think Ices beats Zelda, but it's closer than we think. Let's stick with the high tier. I do think Marth beats Ices, but not as badly as Fox and Falco beats Ices, which is pretty significantly for me, because of course, if you see my channel, you know I think Marth is way better than these two. Has better matchups. I think Sheik isn't great. We're seeing Sheiks, you know, switch to Zelda. I think 60-40, so Ices beats them 60-40. I think Zelda has a better matchup against Ices than Sheik, as crazy as that sounds. That's why we're seeing J-Mook and some Sheik switch. I don't want to say it's 70-30 though. I think Puff is tough. I think Ices maybe beats Puff, or maybe 50-50. I know a lot of the Puff mains aren't going to agree with that. Again, Mewtwo's so hard to rank because we haven't seen this matchup played, but I'm going to say I guess Ices beats Mewtwo. Yoshi's another tricky one. I think Ices actually wins, or 50-50 at worst. Yeah, let's just keep going, because, you know, Ices have really good grabs. I think, like, Yoshi's weight could actually be considered a good thing, though, against Ices. You know, we don't see this matchup that often. I think Captain beats Ices, but not by much. So this is a pretty good list. You know, only has one really hard counter in Peach. This is kind of like a Luigi list. Sort of like a Luigi list, you know, way better than Link. You know, check out my Link matchup chart. I do think I know one of our subscribers want to make a Ganon matchup chart. Then I'll do Ices first. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you subscribe, leave a comment below. I will address every comment below. Make sure you check out our Amazon affiliates. I think Samus beats Ices. I know people might not agree with that. You might say it's 50-50, but I think Samus wins. I think Ices probably beat Ganon, but not by much. Ices DK, I think, is tougher. I think that's maybe 50-50 if you could really use the punch well. Some of you might argue, well, Ices beats DK, but I don't think so. I think it's pretty close. I would say Ices beats Roy. Ices Peach, that's another tricky one. I mean, like, that's a tricky one too. Like, can Axe at the highest level, but then again, it's an overall matchup chart. I mean, that's a tough one too. I'd really have to think about that. I'm going to put in 50-50 for now, but leave that there. Hold on for 1 second. I'd say Ices beats Kirby, but like I don't think it's 70-30. I'm going to think it's 60-40. Ices has a lot of middle matches, which is good. You know, Ices are a good character. They really only have one hard counter. If it wasn't for Peach, I think Ices would be like A tier, or wobbling was allowed, but I know that's not allowed. I think Ices beats Young Link. Significantly too, more so than these ones. I'm not going to rank a solo Ices. I think Ices beats Pichu, but maybe not 70-30, maybe high 60-40. Maybe, again, I could have made 65 or 75, but again, I'm not going to do that because I don't want to get too specific with these. These videos could go on pretty long if I was to do that. Yeah, I think Ices beats Ness. You know, I'm not just going by overall improvement, but I do think Ices honestly wins all those matchups on the high end. That leaves the Mario Brothers. I know a lot of people think Ices would crush these ones, but I think Luigi gets within 60-40 of Ices, if not 50-50. I think Ices probably beats Doctor and probably beats regular Mario. Maybe there, maybe there. I mean, that's a pretty big list, 60-40. I think Ices 60-40 is a lot of characters. I think Ices does have a lot of 50-50 matchups. I know people not agree with that. I think Link's 50-50. The one you guys are not going to agree with me here is Link, because I'm a Link main. So, you know, hardcore Ices fans are not going to agree with Link or Puff. The hardcore fans of Ices would probably say, oh, no, dude, you don't know what you're talking about. Ices crushes Puff and crushes Link. But I don't know. I think those are pretty much even. Or maybe you would say Ices beats Yoshi. Do I want to move Yoshi a little bit back here? But I don't know. I guess you would technically move Pika up, Yoshi back again. I don't think it's relevant because it's 50-50. It doesn't matter. Who are we forgetting here? Game & Watch. Forgot Game & Watch. Yeah, I would say Icy's beat Game & Watch, but again, I don't think it's that significant. I'm going to say 60-40, probably less so than Kirby and Roy. That's a big tier, 60-40. Let me just do quick corrections here. Hope everyone's having a good Sunday. Stay with our channel. Stay with our channel. Make sure you subscribe. Leave a comment below. I think the meta of Icy's is headed up. But again, like Luigi, I don't think they dominate any cards. I do think these high tiers all beat Icy's. I do think Falco beats Icy's too. I know people don't agree with that. Maybe you could argue about Falco lower here. Or maybe 55-45 would be a fair argument. Maybe Marth. I mean, I don't think the Marth matchup's that great against Icy's either. It's 60-40 at best. Maybe you could argue Captain. I mean, Samus too. No, but I like that. I'm not going to change it. I think that's pretty close. 50-50 is not relevant, the order. But I do think Puff and Link and Pikachu are 50-50. Icy. I mean, I guess 70-30 Bowser. Because, you know, Bowser's got a lot of range, but you could then again, Bowser's got a big hitbox, but then you can make that same argument for DK, though. But DK's a much better caliber character than Bowser overall. Leave a comment below. Do you agree? Again, we're not going to rank the solo Ices. We're talking about Ices. That would make absolutely no sense. We're not going to rank Sheik Zelda. I mean, maybe we could rank Sheik Zelda, because people do switch. People do switch, but no, I'm not going to do that. I never do that. Trying to think quickly. I mean, I guess you could argue 75-25 for Peach. Peach really beats up Ices. I do think Fox and Falco both beat Ices. I know people don't agree with that. I do think Samus beats Ices by a little bit too. But this is overall a pretty good chart. You know, this is overall a pretty good list for Ices. I mean, they're a great character. They only have one hard counter, but again, it's just these four right here. Like, Ices are obviously not as good as Fox, Falco, Marth, even Captain, because like these four right here just loses like slightly to these four. If Ices was 50-50 all of these, I think you could say argue Ices an 8-tier character, but I don't think Ices does. Hope everyone's having a good Sunday. Stay with our channel this weekend. Make sure you subscribe, leave a comment below. Check out our Amazon affiliate. See you guys.